video number 4 of our lovely host start. We are here this time with our deck building set, Divergent Paths. So if you remember, we had our beautiful 3 character deck openings beforehand. And this is apparently supposed to improve on those decks. So let's take a look at it. So we're going to start looking at the back, but as you see, I'm going to take the reflective off first. I could have pre-done this, but that ruins half the fun, I think. I think the mistakes that we make in the videos are half the fun behind it. So, chuck that over there. Alright. Let's try this again. So, we're going to look at the side. We got our 3 symbols here, which match our 3 different decks. Got a little preview of some cards inside. I can hear something rattling inside as well. And we got, is that the same ones? Yes, that's the same ones. Let's look at the back. Divergent Paths, the first set for host, brings with its brand new cards for authority, emotion, and strife. So we actually have our 3 names now for our different ones. And we actually opened them in order. Authority, emotion, then strife. That's really interesting. With 3 new hosts to choose from, tailoring your deck to your playstyle has never been easier. Over 100 new cards make your deck your own. Also contains tokens and anything else you might need to play host. Recommended to play alongside a host character deck. There's the host website again. So, it says 20 minutes game roughly. Age 16 plus, so it's not so child friendly. We've got some beautiful art up here, and these are our 3 leaders, which we'll get to in a minute. But first, let's open the box. Oops. We got, a very handy dandy rulebook. This will be very useful for learning how to actually play the game and not make an idiot of myself. Got some little counters. Ooh, I like this. You even get this is what was rattling. We've got a little dice in the box as well. So looks like we'll need a dice for something. We've got some counters. This is that symbol that we were seeing that I kept mistaking. So we'll find out likely what that means in a minute. But, empty this box out. We'll pop these bits out of the way in the box. Because we're not here to see those. We're here to look at 2 giant stacks of cards. So, let's crack the first one open. Come on, turn! You get all sound effects. Deal with it. Screw it. Taking off screen, using teeth a little bit to get through the plastic, but we'll get there. I should have brought a knife up. Oh well. Too late for that now. I'm not, on the last one, going downstairs to grab a knife. We got in. Actually, just put that to the side. Now got in. One thing I didn't notice on that, you can actually see it's a little two-tone. I'm going to grab one of the decks from earlier. See if it's the same. Oh, it's not. I might have to mention that to the lovely guys at host. But let's go through the cards. We've got loads to go through. Okay, I'll look into the... I don't know what this is whatsoever. So, I'll show this now and put it to the side, because that's going to need a look through the rulebook to see what this actually means. But let's look at our 3 new leaders. Because obviously, our 3 decks here each gained a second host for each one. So we start off with our beautiful one over here. And this gave us a torturous existence, Graxis. If you control no entities, the first time you activate an ambush each turn, gain that resource. Ooh, so this turns our top deck checking into a resource deck, which is really nice. Pop you up here, so we still got you somewhat in screen. I presume I don't know the actual what's actually on screen, what's not on screen, because new camera. Next one is a Unbreakable Oath, Yandere. The first that entity you create each turn gains a rush. Oh, so our big beefy beat sticks now get to attack quicker as well. Beautiful. We've got a little bit less health on this one though, which I guess makes sense if you're going to be doing the rush, which balances the card. And this is our last one of the A Wandering Painter, Rosalie. Oh no, that's... Oh, I've put that on the wrong one. That's not for the big beefy... Let me rephrase it. This isn't for the big beefy beat sticks. This is for the vampires. So giving vampires the ability to attack fast makes sense, because vampires are normally fast. This is for our big beefy beat sticks, the Wandering Painter, Rosella. At the start of your first turn, search your deck for an environmental form and put it into play. Oh, so this grabs our... Oh, that's interesting, because this means our... I think I'm going to quickly double check. Trying to find it. No, it wasn't. So I mean, it might work with something we haven't got to yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But we'll pop you in front of our other dragons and all that nonsense. So, one second, I realise it's 2 stacks. I've got to undo the second stack. We just stopped at the first one. Okay. Again, got a little bit there. We can see that it's down the side, but I'm not too fussed because most. Hang on. That doesn't matter because we'll put this part to the side because we'll check that with everything else because this is actually important for us. These are the resource cards. So obviously there's the first one for that side. Then we've got our second one, which is the middle one. Which I'm going to say quickly, I do love the pinks into yellows because this matches my channel colour, so I really like that one. And then we've got our third one, which is the reds into purples, which is this one. Then we've got a somewhat neutral one, which I've seen multiple other ones different use. These are more cards to look at, so we'll pop that into that pile there. Right, so we've got our 4 different types that we can use for now. They're cool. We'll look at them in the how to play video because that's where they'll likely be needed. But that then leaves the giant wad of cards to look through. So let's get started. This is going to be the longest one of the videos because we've got a lot of cards to go through. So first one, I'm not going to spread them all out this time. We've got Fire Spark, which is a sorcery. Deal 3 damage divided among any number of target entities. Then we've got Grace, Aligner of Stars. Impulse. You may play this card at fast speed. Okay, so there's different speeds. That's interesting. When this entity is created, you may banish target entity you control. Then return it to the same slot it was in. Oh, so this counteracts the stun card that we had from this deck. So you could remove the stun on your character. That's really interesting. So you've got anti-control already. This is really good. Then we've got, Korthos, or Wizard of Trent. Impulse. Play this at fast speed again. When this entity enters a slot, deal 2 damage to target entity. When this entity leaves the slot, deal 2 damage to target. We've already found our combo. So we pop this down. Deal 2 damage. Use this. It leaves the slot. Comes back to the slot. This then triggers twice. Deal two more lots of 2 damage. That's good combos. And I'm glad they packed them back to back, so I paid attention. Next one is Light from Within. If you control a angel entity, okay. Banish target non-angel entity, its controller gains the resource. Interesting. So you can use this to banish your angels to go, then make dark stuff. Okay. Then we've got, oops, this looks like a dragon. Yep, Meridius Unleash Fury. Unique and Rush. This card, unique we saw in the trial deck, which means you can only have one copy of it on the board at a time. And this is the Rush keyword, which we saw in one of our new hosts. In this entity can attack the turn it enters a slot. When this entity attacks, deal 4 damage to target entity your opponent controls. Okay, yep. So 3 resources needed, but really big numbers. Then we've got, there we go, here's the angels. Michael, Archangel of Triai. Looks really cool. When this entity enters a slot, heal 1 damage from your host. When this entity is destroyed, deal 1 damage to your host. Okay. So, bit of temporary healing, which is nice to have. If you can keep it around long enough, obviously, it's beneficial. But if they kill it off at the wrong time, you could lose, it seems. Because your host, which we saw, don't think I properly showed. It's got 2 numbers along the side here. I'm guessing the one on the left here is the actual health. Oh no, this one here must be the health actually, because it's got cards here. I'm guessing that's the health. We'll look a bit more. But, guessing that's the numbers it was talking about. So, we'll look more into it in the how to play section. But editing me will likely call me a dumbass. So, Renai, Troublesome Magician. Impulse, plays at fast speed. When this entity enters a slot, you may play target sorcery card from your drop zone and then banish it. Oh, so this lets us go, okay, play you quickly, grab this from the drop zone, activate this, then remove that from game. Interesting. One thing I do want to quickly mention, which obviously I found out about in advance, but didn't say on the box, with our big, let me grab the lid so I can actually have the bit show. With this one, you get a play set of every new card in the box. You don't have to randomize for packs. You're guaranteed play set of everything to build with, which already is really good for players starting out. So we then have the Sorcerer of Margasak. His skill, when this entity enters a slot, destroy target for more sorcery. Okay. And then we're getting into the Mermaids, which is the deck that I actually am really excited to play with. So this is our unique for the Mermaids. When this entity is created from your hand, return up to 1 target permanent that costs 2 or less your opponent controls and 1 target entity you control to the top of the owner's decks. Okay. So you stack their top cards, they've then forced that's going to be their draw. That's really interesting. I like that. I can understand why you can only have 1 of them. Then we've got, Encroaching the Seas, which is our form. The first time you gain that each turn, your opponent puts top 4 cards of their deck into the draw. You've got, beautiful. We have a mill. So this puts the top 4 cards from deck to drop zone. First time you would gain the resource engines. So you do have to be careful, because now deck out is very much the thing in the game. But it's interesting at the same time, because there might be something that works. Oh, you've got X cards in drop, do this. So it leaves room to grow, which is interesting. So we then got Leglaxis, a Death's Master. Unique and Impervious. Impervious means your opponent cannot target this card. Okay, so new keyword. At the end of your turn, create 2 of that energy. I'll create 2 that type spirit energy tokens with 3 health and 2 power. Okay, she looks pretty cool. But yeah, the 4 copies. Next one is another sorcery in the Mind Blast. Your opponent has 3 or more cards in their hand. Your opponent discards 2 cards. Oh, beautiful! So it does have a bit of a hefty cost behind it, so you can't do it right near the beginning of the game, which is good. But discard 2, as long as your opponent's got 3 or more, is really good. So, Mystic Sphinx of Old. It's got the ability First Strike, so this is a new ability again. This entity deals combat damage before entities without First Strike. So when you're battling another entity, it would normally be damage is dealt at the same time. But this one says, oh, I deal my damage first because I'm faster. And its 2 abilities it's got is when your opponent draws cards, you draw that many cards. So, oh, this counteracts the draws that you get from this deck, so it's really nice. And when your opponent gains resources, you gain that many in that type of resource. So it's, oh, this is a very, very much a counter card. So if you spam resources, you gain the resources. And if you spam draws, you get the draws. You only get 3 of this one. Okay. Oh, no, there it is. The piles of cards have been mixed up, so you do get your 4. That's a mistake on my part. Let me just quickly fix this pile here, because this is now actually out of order. You're not there, you're not there. 4. Yeah, this pile's very much been mixed up. This does not make a very easy video for editing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's this one. Pop you down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Oh, okay. So we've got updated versions of some of this, which is good. 1, 2, 3. Must be this one here. You can slightly see me on screen there, just rubbing through, getting everything in the right order. That goes there, that goes there. Perfect. So, next one we've got is Scream of the Deep. So, activate when you assist an ambush again. Those eyes. When your opponent would draw cards by a card effect, negate that effect. Okay, so this says no to Pot of Greed. That's interesting. Because there was a lot of draw 2 ditch ones, draw 3 ditch ones that I saw from the dragons in the middle. So that would counter them. That's really interesting. Next one is this one, which is the Serpent's Caress. It's another impulse, so play it at fast speed. Return target permanent which costs 1 or less to its owner's hand, then you draw a card. Oh, so we could use this to bounce our own permanents that have on-play effects, draw a card, then play down the permanent again. So that leads to some interesting combos. But you can also use it to remove your opponent's permanents and force them to repay the cost, or if it's stopping you doing something, you can then do it. Next one is very much going to be one for my deck, which is the Vanish to the Sea Ambush, because you can tell just by the art that it's meant to be with the mermaids and all that stuff. And it's got activate when your opponent creates an entity. Destroy that entity unless your opponent pays the cost. Oh, that's really cool. So it's a nice little ambush. I like that. Pay extra or do nothing, or your character dies. Next one, which she looks really nice. She's Annabella, the Enigmatic Blood Mage. That's another. Oh, it's another vampire. Unique again, so you can only have one of it. Limit 2. You may only use its effect 2 times per turn. Pay that resource to create a entity token with 1 health and 1 power. So this works well because this is with this one that gives our stuff the ability to rush. So this works really nicely because we can make the token, give it rush, and it can attack that turn. Really interesting combos there. Then we've got, the Caller of Blood, another vampire card, which is when this entity enters a slot, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal an entity card. That costs less. You may create that entity card, then shuffle the deck. So this costs 3. So you'd reveal until you found a 2 or lower, which is really interesting. But, oh, shuffle your deck. I forgot to, then shuffle your deck, yep. So you don't actually lose the cards either, which is really interesting. Because you could go forever, just keep seeing sorcery after sorcery after sorcery. And if you milled them, that'd be a lot of deck gone quickly. Because there is no deck refresh in this game, I have found out. Because one of the lose conditions is your opponent runs out of deck. This is a form environment. This is what we were talking about earlier with the form environments. So, Impervious, limit 1. May use effect once per turn. To pay that to gain the okay, so you're literally just paying your vampire resource to gain your dragon resource, or paying your dragon resource to gain your vampire resource. Okay. Then the next one. Oh, this looks familiar. Pain, Impervious. This is Sanctuary of Serenity. Beautiful art. But it's pay mermaid resource to gain dragon resource, or pay dragon resource to gain mermaid resource. I think you can kind of guess where the last card's going to be going. Well, not the last card, the next card. So this is the Scorched Keep, and it's pay mermaid to get vampire, or pay vampire to gain mermaid. Next two I'm just going to quickly, briefly mention, because these are actually cards that we've seen from one from the mermaid deck and one from the vampire deck, and these are because they actually had to have erratas. As the camera's starting to die on me, please don't die, let me finish this video. So the erratas have been given out in this box as well, which is good. Then we've got 4 copies of the Flame Whip Therion. Beautiful art. When this entity enters a slot or attacks, deal 1 damage to all entities your opponent controls. That's pretty cool. The next one is the Goblin Battlemaster. Got first strike again. And Rush. This entity can attack the turn it enters the slot. Nice simple. Rush, first strike. Cheap cost unit, so it'd be put for more the aggro decks. Then we've got the Initiation Ceremony. Entities you control gain +1 health and +1 power. So it's a form again. So giving power and health is really nice. Makes your things last longer, so it'd go really nicely with our Vampiric Bodyguard. Then we've got 4 copies of the Knight's Guard Yandere. Impulse, plays at fast speed. When this entity enters a slot, banish 2 target cards from either player's drop zone. Oh, so this works well with the one that we had earlier that lets you play the spells from the drop zone, so you can banish your opponent's sorceries, so they don't get to use them from the drop, which is really interesting. Counterplays for the stuff within the same set. And they're generic. Right, as an additional cost to this card, discard 1 card. So this is for Rendering Strike. Looks really nice. Impulse, plays at fast speed. Target entity gains -3 health, -3 power until end of turn. That's why it's got a discard 1 cost. This is very much a very strong counterspell. Because it's actually a spell, not an ambush. So you can use it in both players' turns, which is really good. And then the last card, we've got Sword of the Damned. Equip this only to a... Well, I guess this only works with the vampires. Equipped entity gets +1 health, +1 power, and Impervious. Impervious being the can't target it. And at the end of your turn, if your opponent has more cards in their hand than you draw a card. That's really cool. So, if your opponent's on head-on resources, you gain some resources. But all in all, very nice upgrades to all the decks. I'm very much going to be looking through and improving the decks myself. But the next video is going to be our how to play one. So I look forward to seeing you in that one. Once again, thank you very much, host, for supplying me with all this content. And make sure to check out their link in the description below. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.